Continuing this chaotic Tuesday, looks like Miami's going to lose their top two safeties to the NFL draft.
You are Locked On Canes, your daily podcast on the Miami Hurricanes, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Happy Truth Teller Tuesday. I'm Alex Donno, your host. I am a University of Miami alumnus, longtime South Florida sports radio vet, and contributor to allhurricanes.com. Thank you so much to the everydayers for making Locked On Canes your first listen. We are available free wherever you get your podcasts and free on YouTube. We're part of the awesome Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Make every moment more. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 moneyline bet. That's $150 if your team wins. Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon to get started. So we got the Truth Teller with us here on this Truth Teller Tuesday. So Bruce, I'm basically just doing like an all-day show today, and the latest is it's being widely reported now, no surprise, that James Williams and Kam Kinchens are both going to be declaring for the NFL draft. So what was already not a very deep safety room is going to be losing a couple of very important pieces, likely, and I wouldn't expect them to play in the bowl game either, just so people know.
You know what? I thought about it. I kept thinking, you know what? They didn't play that. They played great in spots, but Kinchens had some mental errors. But you got to go. He got hurt twice this year. Yeah. He can't stay and do this again. It's not fair to him to say you should stay. And Williams, he has his moments too, but he had a better year than the first 2 years.
He did.
So let him go. And when these kids announce, if you remember, they always say the same thing. Well, for the next 3 to 4 years, I'm taking my talents to Miami. Well, this is 3 for both of those guys. And it is what it is. That's the nature of it. Now the job for Mario becomes even greater to replace those guys and to get a quarterback or 2 in the portal. And they still need a D tackle. Because the kid from the transfer from where was he at? Oklahoma,
Alabama, Burroughs.
He's problems everywhere he goes. So they got now he's got a job to rebuild. And so far, we all know he's looking at a quarterback or 2.
Yeah,
the running back room is stacked because Chaney's now gone. Wouldn't be surprised if another one leaves.
Yeah,
and the receivers they had a good year. We don't know about Cristobal. They need to get a blue chip wide receiver, a big dude.
Yeah,
like
for
the kid from NC State. Is that something that you want to throw out there?
Concepcion, yeah. So I have reason to believe that North Carolina State, obviously, they're trying to pull out all the stops to keep him there and keep him happy. He was their entire offense, Bruce. Like Concepcion, North Carolina State's entire offense. He's not in the portal. Maybe he will never enter the portal. The NCAA is pretty strict about tampering. Obviously there are back channels and stuff, and Concepcion, I'm sure, knows he would be a hot commodity if he were to enter the portal. Right. North Carolina State is fighting hard to keep him out of it, but if he were to hit the portal, I mean, that guy, it's like Xavier Restrepo on steroids if you could get a kid like that.
Yeah, it seemed like there was like 4 or 5 of them on the field at the same time when we played.
Yeah, it was one guy. He was everywhere.
So much attention. But look, I'm sitting here. Season's over, except for the bowl game. Who's going to be in the bowl game? Who are we playing? The season was hot and cold. It was up for 4 weeks, and then the bottom dropped out. And then it was up because we beat Clemson, and then the bottom dropped out. With so many strange things, the second half against North Carolina. What? The knee, obviously, the Georgia Tech game will never be lived down. That's just an error of vast proportions. Almost beat Florida State with a true freshman up there, no less. And Jordan Travis played in that game. And we still almost beat them. We should have beaten Louisville. We had a couple of bonehead plays where our 2 DBs collided and the guy ran for a touchdown. And then we blew out Boston College with 45 points. So the highlight was the Boston College offense and the Texas A&M offense.
Yeah.
There were other great moments here and there, but it's just a very bizarre season. 7-5 it's hard to explain to anybody how this transpired. So, but he's got a lot of work to do. With all the positivities that Mario keeps talking about, he's not going to sit there and talk about negativities, but he has no choice because he's got to find another. He said 30 to 35 more players.
Right, which I thought that was a revelation in itself, because when he said that to Joe Rose, we both listened to that yesterday morning. I didn't take that as him talking about recruiting and portal, because he was specifically talking about the recruiting class, which right now is at 26 verbal commits. Right. 26 is already a really big class. They used to cap it at 25. They don't cap them anymore, but 26 is already a big class. And then he says 30 plus. So you can expect that means a big class, but that also means a lot of guys leaving because you need to have enough scholarships available. But real quick, Bruce, I want to get your reaction and the people's reactions. You can leave us a comment, whether you're watching us on YouTube, leave us a comment either in the live chat or leave us a YouTube comment, leave us a comment. You can follow me on X at Locked On Canes. If you follow me at Locked On Canes, we will follow you back there. Latest buzz around the quarterback position. We know Tyler Van Dyke's leaving. I covered that in my morning live stream. I heard from the host of Locked On Louisville. He thinks Louisville is probably going to make a run at Van Dyke. That would be an interesting landing spot, Bruce, for Tyler Van Dyke. Louisville, I don't believe it's going to be on Miami's schedule next year, so obviously that would be an opportunity missed from a storyline standpoint.
I don't know how much firepower they have on offense. That was their weak point. Their defense was good. I don't know if that's a place for him.
They're very well coached on offense. And I thought that their offense looked dynamic against Miami. Jeff Brom, who's more of an offensive guy, he inherited more defensive talent. I think there's a lot of potential for that offense to be. I think that's a friendly system for Tyler Van Dyke, depending on what they put around him. Their offensive line, not as good as Miami's, obviously. They don't have maybe quite as much skill position talent, but I'm sure they're recruiting pretty well there. I think that'd be a pretty soft landing spot for him. I think he could do well with Brom.
When I was at the game and I'm watching it, their quarterback had some good skill set with his hands and his motions and his play fakes and things like that. I don't see Van Dyke having those skill sets. And so a lot of those fakes where the tight ends were wide open on drag routes and things like that, that's not something that Van Dyke's good at. Okay. So I don't know if that's a good fit for him. I don't think he is. I'd rather see him go someplace where he could just stand in the pocket and fire the ball all over the place. He's not that mobile. He can run.
He can run a little bit, yeah.
He can run. He had 8 yards on the first play from scrimmage against Louisville. And then
I think one of the reasons why people forget that he can run a little, he's not Michael Vick or anything, but I think one of the reasons why people forget that he can run a little bit is for such a large stretch of the season, he was playing with that leg injury. And I think that took away what little mobility he had was completely taken away for most of the year.
Right. Well, he showed that 2 years ago. In that 6-game stretch, he was able to take off and run. Yeah, he did really well. That was the best of Tyler Van Dyke.
Yes.
He didn't think it would be at the time, but it turned out to be. That was
people have brought this up to me. If there is an opportunity for him to rejoin Rhett Lashley, like SMU may not be the highest profile program that might reach out to him, but that might be the best fit. If he can reunite with Lashley, because Lashley got the best out of Van Dyke 2 years ago. And we'll talk about
10-2 this year. They probably don't need him.
Probably not. So I want to talk about the latest buzz on what an incoming quarterback could look like and the latest name that's been thrown out to me. So, folks, you want to keep it locked right here. It's a Truth Teller Tuesday, and we are only getting started on this episode of Locked On Canes. Guys, I hope you're taking advantage of FanDuel. Heading into bowl season, conference championship season, the NFL is really still just heating up at this point. As the weather gets colder, the NFL offers stay hot on FanDuel. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 moneyline bet. That's $150 if your team wins. If you've been thinking about joining FanDuel, there's no better time to get in on the action. We all had so much fun during Thanksgiving weekend on FanDuel. The app is so easy to use. There's a wide range of betting options, including spreads, player props, over-unders, and so much more. I love those player props. Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and kick off the NFL season. FanDuel, official partner of the NFL. We are also proudly brought to you by LinkedIn Jobs. If you're a small business owner and you're hiring for your small business, you want to have as many top-tier candidates as possible to interview. That's why you have to check out LinkedIn Jobs. LinkedIn Jobs has the tools to find the right professionals for your team faster and for free. Guys, I know this works. I've gotten jobs through LinkedIn Jobs before. LinkedIn isn't just another job board. LinkedIn has a vast network of more than 1 billion professionals, which makes it the best place to hire. Hiring is easy when you have that many qualified candidates. So easy, in fact, that 86% of small businesses, easy for me to say, get a qualified candidate within 24 hours. LinkedIn knows that small businesses are wearing so many hats, and right now, you may not have the time or resources to hire. Thankfully, with LinkedIn, the process is intuitive, quick, and easy. They even just launched a feature that helps you write job descriptions, making the process even faster and easier and quicker. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/lockedoncollege. That's linkedin.com/lockedoncollege to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply. Thank you so much for joining us on this Truth Teller Transfer Portal edition of Locked On Canes. Bruce Warner is with me. So, Bruce, I'm not the first person to bring this name up, believe me, but I was told by someone who's given me good information in the past, a lot of good information, that Miami would in fact be interested in Cam Ward from Washington State, who's a pretty darn dynamic playmaker, had 8 rushing touchdowns this year to go along with his 25 passing touchdowns through 7 interceptions this year. And Cam Ward seems like, somebody who would fit pretty well in most any offense, Miami's offense included.
He's like a De'Aaron King, but he's taller. He's thick. He's very quick. He gets rid of the ball nice. He's got a good arm. He's smart in that pocket. I like that kid. He does things that we need to have done. We need somebody, as I've been saying all along, that can take nothing and make something happen, like Travis Jordan before he got hurt. We need somebody that can do that. And I don't think TVD has that capability. This kid can do that. So, they're talking about the Mississippi State kid and the Tulane kid. I don't know. And the Tulane kid could be in the draft. For all I know, he's already committed to go to the bowl.
Yeah, senior.
But I like Cam Ward. That kid is something that I think he's got 2 years left, I think. But we need a guy like that. We have to have someone that can create. And, of course, Emory Williams. Look, if this kid if we do get Ward, maybe Emory could redshirt next year.
Right.
Because he didn't this year. And have 3 years. Or it depends how many years. I don't know if Mario wants somebody with 2 years left to play. I think he's a graduate. I think he's got a year left. Because they don't want Emory to sit on the bench for 2 years. But
Ward has, the thing is, I think he probably would. He's got to be a grad transfer though, because he's played for 2 different schools.
Correct.
He's played four seasons, but I think it'd be a 1-year thing. I think he'd be a grad transfer if Ward. And again, not saying he's coming, but if he did come, it'd be a 1-year thing. And so on that note, Bruce, on Emory Williams. Do you think Emory is going to be the future quarterback 1 at Miami, whether it's this coming year or 2 years, 3 years down the road? Do you think Emory Williams is going to be the guy at some point, or do you think he's just going to kind of end up being an afterthought and maybe Miami gets a guy in the portal, maybe Jacurri Brown becomes the guy? What do you think?
Well, I think that if we do get another quarterback, which is almost definitely going to happen.
It's going to happen.
So Emory maybe plays a little, maybe he plays 4 games, but he still gets their shirt. Judd Anderson's coming in, so I think in 2025, those 2 guys are going to battle it out. 1 year of Judd being, a red shirt, and then Emory being a red shirt, and then 2 years from now, those guys battle out. And there's another kid that's coming in, Nickel, right? Luke Nickel?
Luke Nickel, 2025. Yeah.
So he may wind up shirting. So there's your 3 guys right there.
By the way, out of all those young names you mentioned, I think Luke Nickel is probably going to be the best out of all those guys. I think he's got the brightest future. And Miami also, I don't know if he's going to flip, but Miami's also after now CJ Bailey, the quarterback from Chaminade, who's he's more of a dual threat guy, which is pretty intriguing to me. So that if he does end up flipping, that's another one that maybe could be.
Yeah, I'd like to have that. People are saying they're trying to get Smith. I don't think that has anything to do with it. I don't think he's coming here, Smith.
No, I don't think he is either.
But still, there's guys out there that are on his team that would be nice for us to get this quarterback. He's a big kid. And his stock went way up this year, which happens a lot, I like it. I just don't know if it's too late. And a lot of people are saying, what took him so long? Why did Miami wait until now?
Yeah.
They could have.
I don't know.
Months ago.
I don't know.
But they probably were banking on somebody else and not him.
Yeah.
But he had a hell of a season, so now I understand why they're after him. And it's never too late. He's a local kid.
Yeah, and I hopefully that would kind of cancel out the idea of being too late, because we talked about this with Brian Smith, our recruiting expert, yesterday, and that was like one of his concerns. Like, is North Carolina State they've obviously been showing Bailey a lot of love for a longer time. He's been committed there for about 9 months now, whereas Miami got into the game. They just gave him his offer within the last week and a half or so.
Yeah.
So does he take, I don't know, does he take that personally? Does he say, hey, where have you guys been for the last couple of years, right? Or does he say, hey, I'm just so blessed to get my dream offer from Miami and I can stay closer to home?
His teammates are coming here, though, which is the ace in the hole.
Yeah.
Some of his teammates are coming here,
Yeah.
and they're going to probably talk it up, and he'll probably be down here during the bowl practices and meeting with Mario and the coaching staff, and maybe his kids, his friends, could talk him into staying. I mean, where's NC State going to go? They're just the middle of the pack team. That's what's so great about them. But here, he's got young kids that play. He sees these freshmen play. Not that he's going to play. He won't play next year, I don't think, if he came here.
So. Yeah.
But look, I like that they went after this kid. You know, they need as much connections to these local teams as possible.
By the way, the latest bowl matchup projection that I saw, I would love this if this were to come to pass. I like this a lot better than we've been talking about, Bruce, the last couple of days. The Military Bowl, they want Miami versus SMU. I just listen. I mean, I'm not interested.
Too cold.
Too cold. Yeah, it's up in what, Annapolis, Maryland.
Yeah, let's play the Equator Bowl.
Yeah. So the latest, according to would be the Border Bowl. According, I think 24/7 just put out their latest projection that would have Miami versus USC in the Sun Bowl. I'm all about that. Miami hasn't played against USC since 1968, Bruce. Even for you, that's a long time ago.
Yeah, that's a long time ago. You're right, wise guy. I was in high school. Look, and Caleb Williams is not going to play in that game.
No.
And their defense is atrocious.
Yeah, you might win that game.
You might win that game, but the quarterback's going to have to be Jacurri Brown, and I believe he's going to play in that game.
And by the way,
practices to get ready for that, though.
Yeah. And that would be a great opportunity for Brown. If Brown, and we talked about it this morning, the latest report from David Lake is that it seems likely Brown will play in the bowl game, that he would be the starting quarterback in the bowl game. If he's still on the fence about that, if Miami were to get matched up against USC, he's like, wait, so this is going to be a hot television matchup. People will watch this. Their defense can't stop anybody.
Right.
That's a great opportunity for Brown. Brown behind Miami's offensive line could shred that team.
Well, if he's going to play in that game, obviously he's not going to say he's leaving. He's going to have to wait until afterwards, because otherwise, I mean, my God. But if he does well, certainly Miami could be in the bidding war for him too. Why not? He's already here.
Yeah.
He's already been here. And he hasn't announced anything. The question would be, why did he say, I don't want to play at all? He didn't play any of the games. I don't play four.
I don't know I don't know for sure if that's the case. I mean, it's been rumored, but he didn't say it to me, so I don't know. It's a game of telephone.
What you're saying, but he didn't play at all.
Right.
At all.
But was that really his decision though? Because they were warming him up late in that Boston College game, but then they gave up that touchdown that gave BC 20 points, and Miami decided to keep Van Dyke out there. So he was that close to playing last week.
Yeah, I know, but he could have played it early in the season in some of those we blew those teams out. He just didn't. I knew something was up when Emory Williams got in the first 3 of the first 5 games. Something's wrong, or 2 out of the first 4 games. That he didn't get in at all. So I don't know the story behind that, but it doesn't matter. I hope the kid, I wish him well, and I hope he plays well when we're in the bowl game. Otherwise, we have, walk-ons?
Yeah, Ripley Luna, maybe, who I like, by the way. I like he and his brother Colby Luna, twins, who came in as preferred walk-ons. Colby, I think, plays wide receiver. Ripley, I love Ripley Luna, but I'm not looking forward to him starting in a bowl game. It would not be my preference.
Put you on the spot, Mr. Interviewer. Coaching staff. Pros and cons.
Well, easy. Lance Guidry gets a solid A or A minus at work. Like if you want to hold the second half against North Carolina, the defense was brutal. First half against Virginia, the whole team wasn't there. But Guidry exceeded.
The Louisville game wasn't so great either.
No, but Guidry, you're right. Guidry exceeded my expectations. Right. So I thought he was Miami improved in every defensive ranking. I hope we can hold on to that guy. I really do. So Guidry gets a solid A. Shannon Dawson, what would you say? Like a C?
C plus. I don't know. It just seemed like he let everything happen in A&M and Boston College. The rest of the games was like, what the hell's going on? What's going on? What is he doing? What kind of calls are these? But those games, it was like he couldn't miss. It was the calls were great. How could you do this? What was the identity of the offense this year? I don't even know. We had good receivers.
Yeah.
The lack of a tight end really showed the other day when Arroyo got in. He caught a nice pass.
Yeah.
And they threw some balls. And you know what? I expect Riley Williams to be better. He's got to bulk up a little bit and work on his hands.
Yeah, he'll be better.
That'll be good. So, offensively, he's hamstrung by a quarterback who's so inconsistent, it's not even funny. But we need that Cam Ward would make a big difference.
Yeah. Well, I want to get I want to get Bruce's grades for some of the assistants and for Mario, right? I mean, it's a Truth Teller Tuesday. Let's go all out with this, man. You want to keep it locked right here. When he says, I know we're in for something interesting. You want to keep it locked right here. We're not finished yet, my friends, on this new episode of Locked On Canes. I'm certainly not finished with Prize Picks. Prize Picks is the largest daily fantasy sports platform in North America. The easiest and most exciting way to play DFS. It's just you against the numbers, guys. Instead of battling thousands of other players, including pros and sharks, you just pick more or less than on 2 to 6 player stat projections, and you watch the winnings roll in. It's you versus the numbers. Guys, with a couple of clicks, you can turn $10 into $250. You can win up to 25x. And with basketball season here as well, you can go cross league and cross sport. You can select 2 football players, 2 basketball players right there in the same selections. It's awesome. You want to play alongside some of Prize Picks' favorite players like rapper Meek Mill and comedian Andrew Schultz. You can now find community plays under the promos tab of the app to view entries from some of the biggest names in the Prize Picks community each and every week. Prize Picks even offers a reboot policy, so your entries stay in play even if one of your players gets injured. For football and basketball games, if you have a player who exits the game in the first half and does not return in the second, that player is rebooted. Prize Picks is the only daily fantasy sports platform with an injury insurance policy. So guys, go to prizepicks.com/lockedoncollege and use code LOCKEDONCollege. That's all one word, LOCKEDONCollege, for a first deposit match up to $100. Prize Picks really is daily fantasy sports made easy. Thank you so much for making Locked On Canes your first listen today on a Truth Teller Tuesday. The Truth Teller, Bruce Warner, is with us. Bruce, I look at, to me, Mario Cristobal, he's a program builder, right? It's very obvious that he is lacking as a game day coach when it comes to making quick, timely decisions when games are close. Now, in my personal opinion, most of that is outweighed by what he does laying the foundations, building programs, and in recruiting. And my hope would be there's a lot of self-scouting and a lot of self-reflection this offseason where if you have to maybe hire like better analysts that can help him with the game day stuff or put more of that responsibility on certain assistant coaches, right? Because if he's going to be forever known as the guy who doesn't take knees because it happened in Oregon and happened in Miami, it's up to him to find ways to fix that problem, whether it comes within himself or with other people helping him.
Well, you want a grade? My grade for him is a C+.
Okay, I'll take
not
that.
An A, not a B, a C+.
I would have said B minus.
Never be lived down.
That's true.
I also look at this. Look, I'm not taking credit for this. We all said it. They needed a D tackle. They didn't do it in the recruiting. We need a quarterback. They did so far, and we said that we needed one going into this season.
Right.
He needs to get himself a quarterback big time because he doesn't have one. He's got like nothing now except for maybe Jacurri Brown, who could be out of here.
Yeah.
So there's recruiting things, and he's supposed to be the recruiting genius, but those are 2 big areas that have been left bare since he's been here 2 years ago. So that's a problem. I don't know if he's responsible, but the second half against North Carolina, what happened?
They weren't ready for a no huddle. Like they just.
But they had 30 more minutes to play.
I know.
What happened? How do you not prepare for what a team does some of the time? Again, I think there's got to be some soul searching from every coach.
Yeah,
every one of them. I thought Beard did a really good job.
Yes.
And then in the last couple of games, they were struggling to get open again. And this business about Van Dyke locking on one guy and not checking down, which became a public thing.
Mm-hmm.
How do you not fix that stuff? So I'm looking at this staff and I'm thinking, I like what they have. I like what they've done. But I do agree that if we had a real quarterback instead of Van Dyke this year, like a Cam Ward, 9-3 would be the worst record. And that's a big difference.
And what you're saying when you talk about locking into one receiver, next year, I think we're going to learn whether that was a Van Dyke thing or a Dawson thing. Because we're going to figure, whoever's quarterbacking for Miami next year, if it's Michael Pratt, Cam Ward, Emory Williams, Jacurri Brown, whoever, we're going to see the way that they read defenses and go through progressions, and we'll know if that was more of a Dawson thing or a Tyler thing.
But they even did it in the Boston College game. He threw to the backs. And so why hasn't this been a consistent way to play? Why hasn't what they did against A&M carry through this season? Because they started playing too deep? Come on, you're an offensive coordinator. Figure it out.
Yeah.
You've got to figure this stuff out and fix it during the week. There was a 6-7 week gap of games where they looked exactly the same. And we all knew what was going to happen. They threw a pass incomplete. Second down, they ran the damn ball.
Mm-hmm. Third down, run the ball usually, or third and long,
You gotta be able to make adjustments on the fly, not during the week. You got to be prepared. So I thought that was an issue of preparation. They really never really came out smoking. Were they down against Boston? Yeah, 7-0. They went right down the field.
Yeah, because BBC had the ball for. Actually, I don't think did Miami score on the next drive. I think I want to say they did, but yeah.
So look, the next 30 days is big. The recruits, we can't lose some kids, and we've got to get some kids to commit in the regular recruiting and then the portal. We need a couple of studs. You can get 10 guys, but if 11 of them are which is what happened last year, that's not going to help. A lot of these kids we brought in did not help. They were on the roster, but so what?
Yeah.
Jaden Davis helped in some of the games. But they've got to get themselves a quarterback and a D tackle, and they've got to improve, and their cornerbacks. You name all of them. You could sit there and name who's good.
Mm-hmm. I thought Daryl Porter had a pretty darn good year. He's got, I thought
there's a lot of balls thrown his way. He's not so big.
Well, the guys like the long guys like Devontae Brown, I didn't think had a good year at all. It was a lot of pass interference penalties on him.
And his brother too had a lot of pass interferences.
Yeah, but we saw more from Damari than we did from Devontae, and he's 18 years old. So yeah, I thought
I'd rather have the guy get pass interference than not be in the screen at all.
That's true. Yeah,
I'd rather or get called for passing or holding. So I thought the young kid did well.
Yeah, I thought he did very well.
But I think the coaching staff as a whole has got to figure out how to fix these things. We don't have the run stuffer. We just don't. We don't. Although I do like 99, right? His brother played here, Moten.
Yes. Okay. I was about to say he had the interception last week. Yeah.
And then of course the kid that was Horton. I want to see him play. So we do have, and if you just said that Kinchens and Williams are out.
Looks like it. Yeah.
Do we expect Leonard Taylor to leave too? I mean, seriously, if he leaves and somebody picks him in the first or second round, I just think it's a mistake.
I don't think he's going to be a first-round pick. I think he'd be probably second, third round pick is where I'd probably see him going because he's got all the physical gifts. I don't think he wasn't consistent enough to be a first-round pick. I don't believe, but I think he's probably a second-day guy. Again, this is just my opinion. I haven't talked to any scouts too much about him since last year. I talked to some people about him last year, not so much recently. But
yeah, a lot of attention coming here, but it's 3 years already of really not playing well.
Yeah. Well, I feel like we could probably just keep talking all day, but we're going to wrap it up on that note. But Bruce, we're going to be back tomorrow, you and I, and we're going to be joined by a special guest. Not Jacurri, but Jacurri Harris is going to join us, former Miami Hurricanes starting quarterback. That's going to be a lot of fun, man.
Yeah,
we're going to talk with.
He's a fireman now. That's why we had to do it on a Wednesday.
Yeah, I didn't realize that. So we're going to have a Truth Teller Wednesday extra tomorrow with Jacurri Harris. We'll talk to you guys next time on another episode of Locked On Canes, part of the awesome Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.